I don't want to define Seven Mountains Mandate again. Okay, so there are a bunch of Christians who want to take over the entire country, and one of the ways that they are trying to do that is by forcing their religion into everything. There are a handful of these people, like Pastor Dale Partridge, that believe that certain human beings don't deserve rights in our government. I've mentioned it before, I'll mention it again real quick, what the Seven Mountains Mandate is and why it is important. The Seven Mountains Mandate is the idea that we need to have Christianity take over the seven mountains, or the seven pillars of society: family, religion, education, government, media, arts and entertainment, and business. Aaron says, are they connected to dominionism? It is that. Seven Mountains Mandate is a dominionist evangelical ideology. Is what it is. It is not just part and parcel to it. It is it. Venus and P says, what do they think? They're supervillains trying to take over the world? No, they believe they're the superheroes and that the villains are people who will surface themselves only when they've done a specific set of criteria to make the world go fucking apocalyptic. It's really stupid. It sounds so dumb when I say it, because it is. The entire belief is stupid. But Dale Partridge, why are we talking about him? Well, he believes that a certain group of people shouldn't be allowed to vote. And, well, voting is the thing that everybody should be allowed to do in a democratic society, because it is the way in which we express our opinions when it comes to matters of law, governance, and just general shit in society. We vote so that we can have our opinions reflected in the world we live in. It's our ability to all have part, a little bit of power in the society we live in. How well we execute on that, different story entirely. Anyway, Dale, what people shouldn't vote?
America's, at least one of America's biggest threats is white liberal women, because they are the ones literally opening up the doors of immigration, passing laws that degenerate society.
Okay, I love the vague language. They're the ones letting immigrants in. Put a pin in that. They're the ones who are making degenerate laws. Okay, well, you need to populate that with something. What is a degenerate law? What laws degenerate society? Which ones are you speaking on specifically? And how is it always linked to liberal white women? Like, this is one of those areas where I'd like to put on the fedora and say source. Said he looks like a young AI version of Jordan B. Peterson, and he sounds like a slightly more articulate Nick Fuentes. But okay, I said put a pin in the immigrants thing. Would you like to know why I'm putting a pin in that? I'm putting a pin in that because there is a conspiracy theory about white women that we need to talk about. And that conspiracy theory is the Great Replacement theory. The idea is very simple, that white people will become a minority in their own nation because, white women had the audacity to sleep with black men, or brown men, or any men that aren't white. It's just that. This is where it's coming from. The idea that liberal white women don't need to vote because they let the immigrants in is part and parcel to they are letting the immigrants fuck them and rape the nation. It's really, really, really stupid. But the Great Replacement theory, you can Google it, is a thing that even Elon Musk believes in. A shit ton of these right-wing people believe it, and because they believe it, they are more than willing to not only advocate to try to stop it, but legislate to try to stop it. Anyway, back to the pastor that believes women shouldn't have rights.
Releasing criminals to be repeat offenders, aborting babies by the hundreds of thousands and millions.
Aborting babies by the hundreds and thousands and millions. Okay, so I think I know what happened there. He wanted a grandiose statement, and when he said hundreds, it didn't sound right. And when he said thousands, it didn't sound right. And then when he said millions, he's like, that's the one. That's the one. Now, clinicians have provided about 1 million-ish abortions in 2025. You know what's interesting about that? Between 2020 and 2025, we lost Roe v. Wade. Okay? The legislation that, through a privacy argument, federally said women could get abortions, basically. Okay? Now, the Guttmacher Institute has actually done a little bit of research into this and noted that, well, here, the amount of abortions in the United States has gone up by 21% since Roe v. Wade fell. Legislation being enacted to restrict abortions by the numbers actually increases the amount of fucking abortions happening. But the people who've been advocating for abortions to be taken away aren't the liberal right women, it's been the conservative right-wing men. And the handful of women when their husbands let them speak. And now Growlith wants out, so I gotta take care of that. So, fun fact, I'm actually back to recording this video. I took like an hour-and-a-half break before bringing up my next point, and that was because Walmart sent a delivery to my house and they didn't actually deliver it, and then the items were wrong, and now there's this separate segment that I'm doing where I'm talking to the AI chat agent. So yeah, that's over on Twitch, but yeah, anyway, I want to continue with what I was talking about in this particular video before we get on to anything. If dude is upset about liberal women and the things that they have done to ruin the world, and one of those things is made it to where abortions happen more often, I wonder what these numbers mean to him. Because I can tell you right now that in the late 70s, Roe v. Wade passed, and Roe v. Wade is what gave women access to abortions across the entire United States effectively. So strangely enough, a couple years after Roe v. Wade passed, suddenly the amount of abortions per 100,000 in the United States started to stagnate. Suddenly, you had 1.6 million abortions per year, and as it became normalized that women had access to abortions and had abortion rights, the amount of abortions that we saw actually started to decrease over time. And would you like to know around about the time where things started skyrocketing up? Right here. You know what happened then? We lost Roe v. Wade. So I suspect that we're going to start seeing a lot more abortions a lot more often as this graph continues. Because turns out, when you legislate people's rights away, it doesn't stop the thing that they were doing from happening. It actually causes the inverse to happen. Weird. If your actual goal is not to have a set of arbitrary laws that restrict people's rights, and your goal is instead to save all the babies, then the numbers actually bear out that having abortion be legal decreases the amount of abortions that happen. Anyway, back to this dude.
It's why I really believe that we must, as a nation, repeal the 19th Amendment. Okay, the majority of women are not capable of responsible voting.
So I really love this absolutely stupid fucking rhetoric. Also, that ding is the Walmart, maybe AI chat letting me know things, so we'll get to that here in a second. But he's basically saying the men are the smarterer ones, the women are the dumberer ones. Because the women are dumber, they cannot vote responsibly. Women have proven they can't vote responsibly. Now, I just want to make one thing abundantly clear. This man is sitting here in a full suit and believes that women shouldn't have opinions. That is what it boils down to. If you believe that certain people should not have the right to vote in a democracy where voting is a right they have, then you believe that their opinions are not worth something. I do not know if this man is married. I do not care. But if he is, I wonder if his wife knows that her opinions are worth less than dirt to him. Man, isn't this Walmart conversation such riveting content? If you were over on twitch.tv/Necosuris, you could see this riveting content right here for yourself. But while I push that over to the side, I just want to say that there is a member of my chat that basically said what's happening here, and it's Tal. Tal said, if you don't vote the way I want you to vote, you don't deserve to vote. It's like when, I've made this comparison a handful of times, and I'll make it again because I think it's really, really apt. When Henry Ford said that you could have any color Model T you wanted as long as that color is black, this is the same type of thing there. The guy would be a-okay with women voting if women voted for everything that he wanted, but he wants to specifically restrict the people that can vote so that it consolidates power where he thinks it ought to go. I think In a truly free and democratic society, we all get the chance to vote. Hey, there's the Walmart not chatbot. Man, this is going to make absolutely no sense for anybody who's watching the video for this over on YouTube, since I'm only giving you guys tiny snippets here. But basically, the TLDR is that Walmart didn't deliver the items to my location. They wanted to ask me to walk another like 300 fucking feet to get to the location they were willing to deliver the items. And then they didn't deliver the items that I ordered. They gave me substitutions, which is in their policy, to be fair. But when I said, hey, I don't want these, I want the thing that I actually ordered, they went, oh, cool, yeah, that's fine. Just return it back to our store. My guy, I ordered delivery for a reason, but sure. Yellow Purple Soda says, so if I got the segment right, it's about how Walmart shouldn't vote, right? Yeah, Walmart shouldn't vote. You're right. Corporate lobbying should be completely taken off the table. This is an example of that. Anyway, back to the guy who thinks women shouldn't vote. Jesus Christ. Also, Yoru, thank you so much for the raid. We're looking at a chucklefuck who thinks you shouldn't be allowed to vote because you have tits. Oh, and we're bitching about Walmart. I figure both of those things are well up your alley. I mean, none of them have to do it with anything like Disney related, so I can't go in the autism triggering parade, but still. Oh, speaking of which, there's Walmart. Okay, so again, if you were over on Twitch, you would have seen that in the last few minutes, there was an entire set of things that happened as well. That's all done. That's all done. You guys get a lovely 15-minute video. I have spent 2 hours of my life instead. Anyway, back to what you're saying. Whoever you are, actually. I don't remember anymore. Pastor Dinkelberg?
We can see that just even in this video, right? These are all people that vote. Okay, the majority of women can't do this responsibly. And one last thing I want to say. What men are raising these people, right?
What men are raising women who want to vote? I mean, it sounds like you're responding to a video that I'm not looking at. But again, anytime that somebody does that, I can just assume that they're watching something where like somebody on the street is being interviewed. And at that point, I don't care about the message at all, because you can selectively record and selectively publish which people you're responding to and not give a shit past that point. Like, you get the ability as the person with the camera and the mic to paint your own narrative.
Whoever you are, whatever father you are, whatever husband you are an utter failure, okay? Men.
So, no, you're an utter failure if you do not want your daughter to be able to have a legal opinion. If you want your daughter to be unable to advocate for her own rights democratically, like everybody else has the ability to, then no, you not only failed as a man, you failed as a human being.
You must learn to disciple your wives and raise your daughters to not be feminists, to be sound in judgment, to have wisdom and understanding, so that we don't have a catastrophe on our hands of people thinking this way.
My guy, you, again, there's context I'm missing, obviously. There's something in here that you are responding to that I am not seeing. But I'm just going to go ahead and say right now, beyond a shadow of a doubt, if your wife is not a feminist, and by a feminist, I am meaning very, very succinctly, just a person that believes that women should have equal rights to men. That's it. That's it. A person who advocates for the political, economic, and personal social equity of the sexes, or the equality of the sexes. That is what a feminist is. If you do not want that, if you do not think that equality between me and a woman should be a real thing, if you believe that men should have dominion over women, then I'm sorry, I'm just going to assume you can't get laid. I am just going to assume that you not only can't get laid, but in the event you do get laid, you don't know how to please a woman. Reason I think that? Only somebody who has no skill or a complete and total lack of ability to utilize their skill when it comes to women want to be in control of them, as opposed to wanting to be in partnership with them. I'm sorry, but women are people, and since they are people, I think you should be equal to them, period. I feel like that is not a bold statement. That's the easiest statement in the world to make. It should be something that you don't even have to think about, but there's dipshits like this, like Dale Partridge, who, again, I started this video 2 hours ago. I don't remember everything he said now, and we only had a minute of video. There are people like this who, for some fucking reason, do not think that men and women should be equal. And it might come down to the Bible. That may be the reason that they use, but ultimately it always boils down to the fact that they think that they are better than other people for one reason or another. And they demonstrate when they open their mouths that they are not. Hey, you made it to the end. I want to give an extra thanks to the patrons who allow me to do this full time. I want to thank Aaron Rail, Astral, Britzkrieg, Jemshin, Poundini, Red Joker, Victoria, Jonas, Craig, Tarika, Fireshard, Smiling GM, John, Dren Hadamada, Creeper, Sagitta, you know I'm not saying that last part, Sylvie Snow, Valis of Seraph, Ottoman Angel, Rooster Rachel, and Fire Panda, who are all my $20 and up patrons.